Hi, I'm Rob Packer with Extreme Prophetic New Zealand. We're seeing in these days an incredible hunger and a thirst for the presence of God. We're seeing an increase of passion to enter the presence of God, both through prayer and intercession and in terms of worship. Just recently I had the opportunity of being with an amazing young musician from the USA. His name is Feucht, and he has got together an organization called Burn 24/7 and has been instrumental in increasing the passion of thousands and thousands of people around the globe in terms of the presence of God and just taking time to be able to worship Him and open up the heavens. And I asked Sean when I met with him any particular things that he sensed for the nation of New Zealand for this year, and this is what he had to say.
I'm so excited to be in New Zealand, and I really feel, even in the ground of this nation, I hear a resonating of a sound that's coming forth. Within the hearts of God's people, a sound that I really believe that the nations never heard and that the nations have never heard. I mean, I know there's a mantle on New Zealand to bring the light up and the presence of God to the darkest nations of the world. That's always been there, and it's known as a nation of great missionaries that have gone forth all across the earth. But I really believe in this new season that there's a sound that's coming out of the hearts and the mouths and the fingers even of the musicians of this land, that's going to release an atmosphere of heaven wherever they go. I really believe that, and I feel like, over the last few years that New Zealand, for some reason, has lost its sound. I feel like that there's been a push to try to copy or mimic the sounds maybe of Australia or America or other nations. But I believe that this is the hour where God's raising up that indigenous sound, that cry, that war cry. I feel like the nation of New Zealand, it's a nation of warriors. It's a warrior spirit that's God is raising up in that. And even as I've been here, over the last week, just every time I go into worship, I can't get away from that war cry. And I'm very sensitive to the sound of nations, and very sensitive, and I feel that rising up in me as we've gone into places of worship. And I believe that aggressive nature of just pursuing the very heart of God is going to be the thing that calls down heaven. And as a result, we're going to see a widespread just explosion of miracles, of signs and wonders, of deliverances. I believe that the meetings in New Zealand are not going to be marked by just the great missionaries or great evangelists or great revivalists, but they're going to be marked by the thick presence of God that comes in response to this war cry that's released. And I feel like the nation's waiting for it. And even it talks about in Romans 8, that the entire earth is longing, is waiting, is groaning for the sons of God. And I believe for the sons, but for the sound of the sons and daughters of God, for that sound to be revealed, the nation has been longing and waiting. And guess what? This is the hour where we're going to hear it. It's going to come forth. I really believe it's going to even begin to take the airwaves. It's going to begin to take over radio stations and even on TV. Everybody's going to be totally enthralled with this sound. And it's not just a nice, churchy, kind of pretty kind of thing, but it's a raw, authentic cry. It's a Davidic, psalmist, vertical sound of worship that's released, that carries authority, that carries deliverance, that carries breakthrough. And so I'm really excited to be here and even begin to even hear just the beginning shakings of this sound that's coming forth.